Welcome to this deep dive, where the NBA has delivered a few days that feel less like a regular season stretch and more like a high-intensity drama.
It really has. We've seen this perfect microcosm of the league.
Right, you have these historic moments right alongside, utter chaos.
And moments of pure adoration next to critical, structural failure.
And yes, a game that was postponed because the court was literally sweating.
You can't make it up. It really is the complicated and compelling landscape of the NBA right now.
Totally.
On one hand, you get these individual titans, LeBron, James Harden, Kyle Lowry, and they're hitting these incredible milestones.
Still etching their names in the history books.
Exactly. Redefining what longevity even means. But, and this is the key thing, those personal wins are happening against this backdrop of huge team challenges or, wildly different fortunes.
That tension. The individual versus the team reality.
That's it. That's what we need to unpack today.
Okay, let's do it. Our mission today is laser focused. We're going to go deep on this theme of intentional legacy, how veterans are crafting their final chapters.
Then we have to get into the tale of two LA teams.
Oh, for sure. The structural flaws sinking one while the other is really taking off.
And finally, the logistical nightmares, the science of court condensation.
And the league's rules on defense. Okay, let's start with the veterans. And that emotional return for Kyle Lowry in Toronto, it just transcended the box score.
It's the perfect place to start because it wasn't just a feel-good story. It was this profound public confirmation of a legacy that goes way beyond stats.
The 76ers beat the Raptors 115-102.
But the final score was completely irrelevant. The focus was entirely on the pure, unadulterated bond between a player and a city.
I mean, think about that dynamic. How often do you see a loyal home crowd just stop caring that their team is down 21 points?
Right.
They just wanted to see an opposing player check into the game.
The Sixers were up by as many as 33 at one point. And with 9 minutes left, the Raptors fans started chanting for Kyle Lowry.
They literally hijacked the final minutes of a professional game.
And that's the moment that makes this so iconic. The Sixers coach, Nick Nurse. And it's so key that he was Lowry's coach for that championship.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
He recognized what was happening. He saw the gravity of it. And instead of just running out the clock, he obliged.
With 2 minutes left, he puts Lowry in.
And the ovation that followed, it wasn't just loud, it was visceral. It was just this outpouring of gratitude for the six-time All-Star, the champion.
The heart and soul of that franchise for a decade.
It completely overshadowed the result. That's so rare in a league that's all about winning.
And Lowry himself, he totally got it. The sources quote him calling it one of the greatest basketball moments of my personal career.
Wow.
He also said something really poignant. He called the fans the greatest fans in the world. And then he acknowledged this was possibly the last game I ever play here.
Oof. That recognition of finality just adds such a heavy nostalgic weight to it,
It turned a regular season game into a farewell party.
And that phrase, possibly the last game, it speaks volumes about the legacy he built. A legacy that's not just about points, but about grit and commitment.
He talked about that, didn't he? How that relationship evolved.
He did. He remembered that early period where he was still finding his footing. But he said once he committed to showing that I was here for the long term, the fan base committed right back to him.
Him, DeMar DeRozan.
Exactly. They built something special. So what the fans were celebrating wasn't just one game. It was that decade of dedication.
And what's fascinating is how he's channeling all that experience now into his current role with the Sixers. He's really focused on mentorship.
Absolutely. He's intentionally transitioning into that elder statesman role.
He seems to really enjoy it.
He detailed his genuine joy in teaching the next generation. He was naming specific young guys, VJ, Tyrese, Trendon Watford, Jared McCain. He framed his role as paying it forward.
Sharing the lessons he learned when he's the young guy.
Yeah, it's an awareness of the bigger picture. He knows his impact now comes from teaching the nuances, the professional habits, even if, he admits he still wants to play and win.
It's that duality, right?
Mm-hmm.
The desire to win and the dedication to teach.
That's the modern veteran.
And speaking of paying it forward, he had some incredibly high praise for Scottie Barnes, the current face of the Raptors.
The praise was extraordinary because it came from a champion. He called Barnes really good at basketball, one of the most talented players. Very unselfish.
But there's that one quote that really stood out.
Oh, yeah. The money quote. He described Barnes as a championship caliber type player.
That's the highest possible endorsement you can get, especially from someone who knows what it takes to win a title in that city.
He knows the grind.
So what did Lowry highlight that justifies that championship caliber label.
It was the unique combination of size Barnes is 6'10" and super physical and his extremely high basketball IQ.
His brain works fast.
That's what Lowry said. That he sees things before they happen, and crucially, he plays within the system. He's not forcing things.
That's not playing hero ball.
Right. And for the Raptors, having a guy with that mix of talent, selflessness, and IQ is, as Lowry put it, a really good starting point to rebuild a winning culture around.
It's an endorsement of his character and his mind, not just his athleticism.
Exactly.
That sense of longevity and high-level consistency, it brings us perfectly to James Harden, another veteran who just hit a massive individual milestone.
A huge one. Harden has officially passed Shaquille O'Neal on the NBA's all-time scoring list.
Which is just staggering company to keep. Right. You really have to step back and appreciate the context of that.
You do. Shaq represents, absolute physical dominance, right. Unguardable in the paint, sheer force.
And Harden is the total opposite. He's relentless, artistic, three-level offensive mastery.
It's a game built on skill, deception, and, math. The three-pointer and the free throws.
And Harden reflected on that. He mentioned growing up in L.A., watching Shaq with Kobe and the Lakers. It made the milestone definitely special for him.
He honored Shaq, too. Called him the most dominant center of all time. It's cool when you see that respect between generations.
For sure. But it's not just about passing Shaq. There's another stat that really defines Harden's historic production.
The 30-10 stat.
Yes. He just logged his 109th career game of 30 points and 10 assists.
Which is second in NBA history only to the Big O, Oscar Robertson.
You just can't overstate that number. When we talk about dual threats, that stat is the definition. It proves he's not just a scorer, he's an elite playmaker.
And to be second only to Oscar Robertson in this modern, highly specialized era, that's a monumental testament to his offensive complexity.
He puts so much psychological pressure on a defense.
Well, he does. He destabilizes them with his scoring, but still maintains total control of the offense. Harden talked about watching his peers, LeBron, Steph, KD, Russell, still performing at the highest level.
It reinforces this whole theme of enduring greatness we're seeing. It's not enough to just be dominant for a little while. You have to sustain it.
And that idea of sustaining greatness and curating a legacy brings us perfectly to LeBron James, who is redefining longevity in a way that now intersects with, high-value commercial assets.
This is where the story gets really interesting. It's moving beyond just sports and into business and memorabilia.
So LeBron is celebrating his 23rd NBA season, which is basically unprecedented.
And he's doing it in a very tangible, very unique way. He started wearing a special commemorative patch on his uniform.
And this isn't just some fun decal. This is a partnership with Topps, which is owned by Fanatics, to create special relic trading cards. And
the mechanism here is wild. The patches are literally removed from his game-worn jersey after every single game.
Cut up and placed into these ultra-rare, high-value collectibles. We're watching performance be turned into a commercial asset in real time.
The patch itself is meticulously designed, right?
Yeah, it has a silhouette of LeBron doing his signature pre-game chalk toss.
A little throwback.
A nod to his early career, yeah. And crucially, it references all his career stops. The Lakers, the Cavs, and the Heat. It tells the whole story of his journey on his chest every night.
He debuted it in Sacramento, and he called the whole thing super cool, super surreal.
He said it was an emotional moment. But let's look at the deeper implications. He's wearing a piece of fabric that is immediately destined for a collector's portfolio the second the game ends.
It fundamentally changes the nature of game-worn memorabilia.
It does. Normally, a jersey might get auctioned off or preserved whole, but this monetizes his performance in real time. By segmenting the patch, they're maximizing the scarcity and value of each card.
It's a new financial precedent for player longevity.
Totally. It turns his continued presence on the court, even late in his career, into an immediate high-value commodity. His career itself is a collectible asset. That's new territory.
Okay, so we've covered 3 veterans managing their legacies with a ton of success. Now let's move from individual achievement to team reality.
The wildly diverging paths of the LA Lakers and the LA Clippers.
It is a dramatic contrast playing out in real time.
And this is where the narrative shifts sharply from curated success to structural crisis. On one side, you have the Clippers riding high. On the other, the Lakers.
The Lakers are struggling profoundly, highlighted by a loss that analysts have called arguably the worst loss of the season.
The 124-112 loss to the Sacramento Kings.
A team that was only getting its 10th win of the season. The post-game analysis was brutal because the single biggest story was an incomprehensible shooting discrepancy.
You really can't overstate the statistical failure. The Lakers shot a dreadful 22% from three, just 8 of 36.
Well, the Kings were on fire.
Scorching, 65% from deep, 17 of 26. When you're losing the three-point battle by 9 makes and 33 percentage points, the math just doesn't work. You can't win.
And the ultimate irony, the cruel twist for Lakers fans, is who was fueling the Kings' success.
Oh, it's excruciating, ex-Lakers. Malik Monk made 7 threes.
And Russell Westbrook, who struggled with spacing as a Laker, made 4 threes. The optics of that are just brutal for a team that's struggling with confidence.
It's a devastating indictment of their roster strategy. And what makes it even more frustrating is that 2 of their biggest stars delivered incredible individual performances.
Totally wasted.
Luka Dončić had an incredibly efficient 42 points, 8 assists, 4 steals. LeBron was game, added 22 points. But the support system completely collapsed around them.
The supporting cast breakdown was catastrophic. Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia, the other starters, combined for only 3 points.
3 points. And Jared Vanderbilt played 26 minutes and scored 0. 0.
And when you look at the game tape, that lack of reliable floor spacing is the structural killer.
It is. LeBron missed all 5 of his threes, including a wide-open corner 3. Luka was 2 of 9. When you shoot 22% from 3, you're putting immense, unsustainable pressure on your defense.
The critique has really moved past coaching and is now focused squarely on roster construction.
It has to. The sources all argue the team just lacks the necessary shooting skill around Luka and LeBron. It forces them to carry too much of the burden.
And it lets defenses just wall off the paint.
That's the core issue. And we saw what happened when a guy like Rui Hachimura was held out for a back-to-back. The depth just isn't there.
When Luka's not on the floor, the offense is just gone, stagnant.
And LeBron, at this stage, he just can't carry the whole offense every single night. The inability to hit open shots, that's not a game plan issue. That's an executive decision failure.
So now let's switch gears completely and look across the hallway at the Clippers,
who are moving in the exact opposite direction. They got a 117-109 win over the Hornets, and they're just continuing to build that momentum.
They're providing a masterclass in what happens when high-level talent finally clicks.
Kawhi Leonard was dominant. 35 points on only 19 shots. Incredible efficiency.
And James Harden had another masterpiece. 32 points and 10 assists. This team has really shed its early season struggles.
And Harden talked about the team chemistry and their leadership style, which is such a powerful contrast to the Lakers.
What did he say?
It's critical. He said he and Kawhi are calm, we're collective, we cool. They've deliberately avoided, yelling and public shaming.
Which you see in a lot of high-pressure locker rooms.
Right. Instead, their strategy is about internal correction of details. Defensive rotations, offensive spacing. They know a different guy has to step up each night.
They're embracing that philosophy. It's a stable, disciplined approach.
And to keep the vibes high, you have to mention the fan section, the wall. They passed out clown masks, referencing that viral video of LaMelo Ball being scared by a clown.
Even their fans are confident and happy right now.
It just shows a locker room and an organization that's comfortable and feeling good about where they're headed. As Harden put it, they know what the bottom felt like earlier this season. They learned from it.
All right, so we've set up that contrast. Now let's pivot to some of the other news items that speak to the sometimes chaotic operations of the league.
We have suspensions, potential trade impact, and a game canceled by physics.
Before we jump in, we should briefly touch on the Anthony Davis trade rumors.
Right. Our sources acknowledge them. It was tied to a reported hand injury diagnosis. Now, even if it's unconfirmed or minor, just the implication of an injury.
Especially for a player with his history.
Exactly. It can totally impact an organization's trade leverage or their timeline for making moves, especially with the deadline approaching.
So while the Lakers were dealing with that uncertainty, we saw a glimpse of the league's future in the Mavs-Nets game. Specifically, a masterful game from Cooper Flagg.
The rookie was sensational. He had 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He showed off that impressive two-way talent, tied his season high in blocks.
The Nets were giving him superstar treatment, right? Double-teaming him all second half.
That's a huge sign of respect for a rookie. And he showed toughness, too. Came back after turning his ankle.
But the truly astonishing thing is the sheer volume of his production.
It's crazy. Flagg now has more 25.5 rebound, 5 assist games than the rest of the rookie class combined.
That's a clear indicator of his impact. But it also throws a spotlight on the Mavs' identity crisis, doesn't it?
It does. Are they trying to develop Flag for the long term, or are they still trying to compete for a playoff spot now? His success really complicates that calculation for their front office.
Okay, moving to league discipline. The Timberwolves' playoff positioning was threatened after Rudy Gobert got hit with a suspension.
Yes, Gobert was suspended for 1 game, and it's because he hit his 6th flagrant foul point of the season.
The incident was when he crowded Victor Wembanyama's landing zone on a three-pointer.
Right, and that rule is non-negotiable. It's there to protect players from serious injury. But let's get into the flagrant point system itself.
So how does it work? 6 points sounds arbitrary.
It's a tiered system. A flagrant 1 foul is 1 point. A flagrant 2 is 2 points. Once you hit 4 points, the punishments start escalating.
And 6 points, where Gobert is now, triggers an automatic one-game suspension.
Yes. And the implications are huge for the Timberwolves. They're 26-14, fighting for that top spot in the West.
So how does this change things for Gobert moving forward?
The risk is now immediate and competitive. Any additional flagrant 1 foul is another automatic 1-game suspension. A flagrant 2 is an automatic 2-game suspension.
Wow.
It puts an immense risk on the Timberwolves. They can't afford to lose their Defensive Player of the Year candidate, especially over avoidable discipline. Every contested shot now carries this heavy potential penalty. He has to change how he plays.
Finally, let's wrap up with the genuinely bizarre logistical nightmare that canceled the Bulls Heat game.
Not a blizzard, not a security threat, a slippery floor.
It's a fascinating collision of weather, infrastructure, and basic thermodynamics.
The game was supposed to be January 8th. Had to be postponed because the surface at the United Center was unplayable. And the reason was an unseasonably warm day in Chicago, 55 degrees at 8 p.m.
Which sounds mild, but the sources detailed how the outdoor warmth wrecked the indoor conditions.
Right. It caused the humidity inside the arena to nearly double, up to almost 60% instead of the usual 30%. The result was the floor reaching its dew point.
Which is when the moisture in the air condenses into water on the cold surface.
And what was making the surface so cold?
The massive ice rink for the Blackhawks that's underneath the basketball court.
Exactly. The ice was melting along the edges, which just made the condensation worse and the floor dangerously slick.
Arena workers were out there with brooms and towels, squeezing water into buckets, a desperate, old-school fix.
But it didn't work. After a 2-hour delay, the game was officially postponed. It just shows the massive, complex logistics needed to run these arenas.
It really does. Even with billions of dollars and sophisticated systems, sometimes a simple shift in weather can undermine the entire operation.
The game's rescheduled for January 31st, but it's a huge reminder of the constant battles the league fights off the court.
So, after analyzing this week of tectonic shifts, what's the big takeaway for you?
I think it's the tension between intentional success and uncontrollable variables. The success of Lowry, Harden, and LeBron. It's all built on intentionality, intentional health, skill development, legacy curation.
Right.
But the Lakers' struggles are about structural roster issues that no amount of individual genius can overcome right now. And then you have the external factors, Gobert's discipline, the literal condensation in Chicago.
The teams that thrive are the ones that can manage those uncontrollable variables.
Exactly. That's the key to championship contention.
So, quick recap of the biggest headlines. We saw Kyle Lowry get an emotional, possibly final, standing ovation in Toronto. James Harden continues his historic climb up the scoring ranks.
The Lakers suffered what's been kind of their worst loss of the season due to abysmal, structurally problematic shooting.
While the Clippers keep building momentum behind that calm, consistent leadership of Kawhi and Harden.
And we learned about the strict new discipline threshold for Rudy Gobert and the detailed science behind why the Bulls and Heat had to reschedule their game due to a sweaty floor.
It was a week that gave us both the highest peaks of individual achievement and the messy realities of team dysfunction.
And environmental challenges. It just reminds you that no matter how organized the league is, basketball is still subject to the human element and the laws of physics.
Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Spotify, please leave 5-star review. It will help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.